Hello guys, and welcome to day 17 of this full stack hospital management system. So in our last video, we created our services here in our front end, and services will help us to just integrate our backend with our front end and fetch data from our database. So we created these services here. You can see we created these services here, and now we are ready to just receive the data from our backend. So this is our application here, and for now we'll start integrating from the admin side. So let me go to the side of the admin here, and we start by looking at registering the user. In here you can see we have this here, have these forms here that we'll fill in order for us to be able to add the user or to add the user to our database. And then we'll come here and start getting them from the database, and also we'll be looking at deleting that user when you click at this delete button here. So without much ado, if you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, kindly subscribe and also like this video so that it may reach other people, and also turn on the notification bell. So without much ado, let's deep dive in tutorial. So today I just want us, because we are starting with the integration and fetching data from our database and also adding, I just want you to introduce you to something that is called async pipe and the advantages of using async pipe. So here I just type async pipe in Angular, and we can look at it and the advantages, or we can look at it and the advantages that it provides rather than subscribing to observable direct. So in here, you can see we have this, do you prefer using the async pipe or subscribe approach, and why? So you can read more about this async pipe. The async pipe is a better and more recommended way of working with observable in a component. Under the hood, the async pipe does these three tasks. It is subscribed to the observable and emits the last value emitted. So what I need you to understand is that in observable, or in fetching the data from our backend, we need to subscribe to a service, and then you need to unsubscribe, and this is what async pipe does it automatically for you. So when you're using async pipe, you don't need to subscribe and unsubscribe. So that's what I need you to go through. You can, if you don't know about async pipe, kindly go through it, and because that is very, very important. It will help your application to be more reliable, and you would have complied with Angular recommendations. So now let's go into our code, and we'll just go in add user here and start coding. So first thing first, because we have forms, as you have seen here in our application here. In our application here, you have seen this code here. You have seen this form here that we need to fill. Now we need to use either reactive forms or template forms, but for this one I'll be using reactive forms. So to use that, we need to add a module called reactive forms, and remember we are adding it in admin module because this add user component is inside this module here. We don't need to go and access it or add it in the app.module.ts, because we have this add user component doesn't know about the module that is app.module.ts, because it is already inside the admin.module.ts, and it knows all about the module that is admin. It doesn't know about the app.module.ts. So here in import, first thing that I need to add is reactive forms. So I will add reactive forms here, just like that. And now we can go and add, and actually I can add form module here, form modules, although it is not necessarily. So now inside here, now we can start using those forms. So inside here, come here, and first thing first, I need to add the form so that we can start using now the form module and everything. So inside here, I'll just create form. Let me add form here, and now we can add everything from here up to submit here inside this form. Will make our work easier, and I will just show you why. So after this, now the other thing that we need to do is to create now, or is now to start using the form control, form group, and validators. So that one will do in our component here. So inside here, first thing, we need to import form control. Let me first of all import from Angular at Angular core, or Angular forms, sorry. So you can see we have Angular forms here. So remember, if we haven't added the reactive forms in admin module, we couldn't get access to this here, to this import here. So I'll just add form control because I need it, and also I need to add form group here. This one will help us to get values from our forms, and also validators, just like that. So now, first thing first, I need to initialize a form. So in here, before constructor, I'll add form, and I'll just add a variable. So form control, we take form control here, and again we need to add this one. This will be role, and I will show you where we'll be using this role. So if you don't understand, kindly just hang in there. I'll show you where we'll be using. Name also is a string, and also we need to have email, which also is a string here. So now we need to have also password. This is the data that we're getting from the forms. So everything will be like that, and then now what we'll do, actually let me add it like that. So this one, I need to add this variable here to make it variable, this variable or properties. So now I need to initialize the new instance of this form here to get the data from the forms. So to do that, we need to go inside this nginit, and the first thing that you do is to access this form, and inside this form now we can now create a new instance of form group. So that's why we needed that form group. So this is called template or reactive forms. You can use any other forms that you feel like it is okay. So we need to have name, and okay, you can use template form, and we can initialize form control here. So we have form control here, and we have it to, we can give it null, and then we can add it to be validators dot required, just like that. Another one, you know what we'll be getting. So the other thing is that we need to have a role, and this role here, it is the same. So I can just copy and paste and then change these ones here. So copy this, and actually this one here is a comma, and don't know why I'm adding it that way. So copy this, and then you can paste it here. So paste it again, and here now we can add this as the email. Actually this one is an email, and here we can add validators. We can add validators.email because it is an email, and it should be added validator for email. So that's all, and here I need to add password. So for password, I need to add, we can add now just as the text, but you can add any other that you feel like it's okay. So you can add other validators that you feel like it's okay. You can add the min length, and also you can learn to add the validators that will check if we have a characters or symbols and everything, or capital letters and everything. So just go through these reactive forms and look for the thing that you will be that will be things that you can add as validators, and how you can create validators, custom validators for you. I think I'll be building a project, or I'll just be building a video in the future that will be telling us all that. So now let me now go into our HTML here, and inside our HTML, the first thing that you need to do is to bind. You need to do property binding, or I think it is called, yeah, I think it is binding, if not property binding. I don't know how to call it, but you need to bind this form group here. So form group, remember this form group is in our component. So form group, and then we give it the value of form, that is this form is also in our component. So, and then we'll have a function called on, or we'll just also bind an event called ng-submit, and here we can give it a function that we'll call onSubmit, or something of the sort, onSubmit. Let me add onSubmit here and add this bracket here. So now we need to create this method in our component, so copy it, and inside here in our component here down, we can add this and then add it that way. So now this one will be getting the values, and I will show you how. So now the other thing that we need to do is now to bind these forms here, or this input here, with their respective form control, form group, or form control. So if you come here, you can see we are corresponding this name here with our form control. So we need to just bind them, or to just give the corresponding values. To do that, we need to come here, and for example, in our name here, this name, what we'll do, we'll add form control. So in here we need to have form control. Okay, let me add form control name. It is not form control, it is form control name. And now we need to give the name. This name should be the same one with this one that is inside here, form group here. So another thing that we need to add also is in here in our email, and in our email here we need to give form group, form control name, just like that, this way, and then we can add it just like that. So here we need to give it as email, and in here in this one here we can also add for the password. So let me copy this, and then because it's the same, so I will copy that and add it here. So for this one here, it will be different. This one for select, we'll be using another method, and in here we need to bind by event called change, and here you can come here and add change, and this change you can give it a method. So we give this select role as a method, and also this one will have an event. We'll just accept an event here, event. To accept that event, we can add it, we can accept it as this one here, event. And now we can copy this here, and now what we can do, actually before, because we'll be getting the values from event.target, so we add this as admin, the way we want to save it in our database, and we can have this as patient, just like that. We need to have this also here as reception, or doctor. Actually, I don't know why this is doctor, this is reception here, and reception just like that, and then we have patient, and also we have finance. We have finance here. Let me add this finance here, so paste it here, and now we have finance here. So this one is finance. So in here we can have finance just like this one finance, just like that. So now we can add this here, this method. So copy it, and inside here now we can add another method. This one will be getting the values from select options. So inside here we can give it, or we can accept e or that as an event, and you need to give it the type. For now I just give any because I'm not sure which type of event it is, but you can go forward and look in the the documentation, that is. So to get that, I'll just add this dot role, and I'll assign it to e dot target dot event, just like that. Not event dot value, that is. You can see we are accessing this value here, these values here, like admin, reception, and the other thing. So now inside here you can see now we are getting the importance of this here, this row, this name, the email, and everything. So inside here now, before we do anything, we need to assign this dot name, and this one will be getting it from this dot form dot value dot name dot value dot name now. And we'll have now the other one, this dot value or this dot email, to be this dot form dot value and dot, remember the name is the email, that is. So now the last one is this dot password, and this one will assign it to this dot form dot value dot password, just like that, and that's okay now. So now we have assigned this role here. We have assigned this name, this email, and the password. Remember, these ones are this, we are assigning to these values or these properties that we added above here in our class. So now what we need to do, I'll just console log here. Actually inside here, I'll just console log this dot value dot form dot value to get all this data that we are binding here. But remember, because the role is different, we just console log or print it the way it is. So before I forget, we need to validate. We need to add when we have all the forms, or when we have filled in all the forms or inputs. So inside here, what we can do now, we just bind by disabled property. Now this is the property binding, and you can bind any property or any HTML property that you feel like it is, or which is valid. So we just give it to just check. If it is not valid, disable it. So just like that. So to do that, now we are checking if the forms are not valid, then it means that you should disable this button here, because this button won't be clickable if that form are not valid. And valid, it means that those forms are not filled in, or we have not filled in the information. So let us first of all test and look if our application also is working, because we need now to just check if we have done things correctly. And if we have done our things correctly, then it means that we will be able to do things. We'll be able to get our values. So inside here, you can see actually now, because we have used the form, you can see now here, you see that we have our forms aligned, displayed in a flex manner. So what I will do, let me come here first of all before we do anything, and we can add this. We can add this container here inside here, just like that. And also that means that we can take this and add it here. So add it there, and then let me format this code. So because I want it to be displayed flex and then flex column. So let's see if it has fixed our problem. So let me reload, and you can see now it has everything aligned correctly. So let me add just a density do, just like that, and then we can add the email as density do at gmail.com. Here we can have a password as switch lens, just like that, and then we'll select a role as reception, and then let us submit, and then we'll be looking at our console here and see if we have added or it has printed the values. So in here, let me click, and you can see it is disabled. And let me first of all come here. So just try and click this button, and it is not clickable. I don't know which one or which here we have not done correctly, which things we have not done correctly, and we can just check. So this is an email. Okay, this is where we have problem. So this one, it is password here. So just like that. Now let's see if we have that problem gone. So let's see. So we can add here name as density, just like that. We can have density at gmail.com. So password, we can give it to be switch lens, and actually you can hide this to give it a type of password in that input, and then we can give it deception, and then click here, and actually you can see we are not getting any value. So meaning that it is disabled, and I want to first of all check what the problem is. So inside here, let me see why the problem might be coming from. So this is disabled, and I don't know why. So actually this is because this one is password. I think it is small letters. I'm doing bunch of stupid mistakes. I don't know why, but let me check if it is password. Yeah, it is password. So it is password here. So now let me first of all now try and get the here. Now we can get, okay, James, let me say James Doe at gmail.com. We can have password as switch lens, just like that, and then we can choose the doctor that is. So let me, okay, it is not giving me. Okay, let me first of all, in order to know where the error is coming from or what is wrong, let me first of all remove this disabled to show, or it will just tell me where the error is coming from. Because if it is printing a null value, we know that that's where the error is coming from, and we need to do something about it. So let's see now. Okay, let's see where the problem is. So okay, let's do it again. So James, and then James at gmail.com. Just say switch lens, just like that, and then select the doctor here, and then click here. You can see we are not getting here. We are getting the name, yes, but we are not getting the email and the password. And this is where, that's why our button is disabled when we are using that. And we can see the doctor here. We can get the role here. We can see we are not even getting the, let me come here, we're not even getting the role here. So what we'll do, let me just first of all check something. So inside here, need to look where the error is coming from, and let me check here. Okay, let me just pause the video for a while, and then we just check where the problem is coming from, because I'm not understanding. So guys, I checked all everything that I feel like I didn't do right, and I didn't find where the error was coming from. So what I did, I just did it again. I built these forms again, and now at this time here, it worked. So at this time, let me show you the data, and you can see here .gmail.com, and then we can add any password here, and also we can select like the role. So when we click here, you can see we have this data printed here. We have everything, and here we can see we have patient. So we have patient name as James, email as james@gmail, then our password here. So I don't know what was happening, but I did it again. I rebuilt the forms again. So you can do that, or I will just add the source code link in the description of this video, so you can just go through it if you have come through that error, or if you knew where I was going wrong in the other forms, you can tell me. You can add in a comment there. So what I think you can do now is to add the font size or font bold of the font weight of this text here. I think that they are not that visible, but I won't do that. That is very small thing, or easy for you to do now. So now what we'll do, we'll just go back in our component here and try and save our data into our database. So in here, now the first thing that we'll do, remember in our last video, we built the service for auth or authentication, and now we can inject it in this here, in this component here, so that we can use it. And to do that, we need to do it in our constructor. So in our constructor here, what we can do, we can add a private, first of all, and we can add this auth service here, and we can inject this service that is called auth service. So let it import like that, and now if you look here, you can see it coming from services and then auth service. So now inside here, because now we have all the data, what we need to do now is to, after that, now we need to call that service and create that on, we need to now to save this in our database. So remember, now we can say this .auth service here, and remember which a function or the method that we want to use is register. We need to use register user, and in here now we can add the data that we want to add. So we can add the name, and this name the data will be coming from this .name, because we are assigning the value for the name in this .name, this property that we initialize it there at the top. So .name, and then the other one is the email, and the email will be coming also from this .email, and the password also, this .password, this password here will be coming from this .password, and the last one is the role, and here we'll have this role here, just like that. So let me first of all format the code, and when we format, actually it is not formatting the way I want, but I can format it on my own. So I just create that, and then in here I just do now subscribe here, and we can get the value here, this value, and we can say now let console log the value. also log the value so that we can see now if it has been saved. And after that, now what we can do now, we can reset our forms so that the values from can be the forms can be empty. Or for now, let me first of all comment this here, this data. So let us save, and actually want to eliminate this error. So let's see what is happening now. So actually, let me first of all then open the inspect tab here. And now what we can do, let me open that once only there so that we can see what will be printed. So I just add James and then here James at gmail.com, and then you can add anything. Let me add something of the sort, and then you can click as patient. And remember this password, we were using user validation in our backend in Nodejs. We are using Joy to validate, and we give it to look for the minimum of 8 characters. So let us click here and see if we have saved this data. So when you click here, you can see we are having error, and you can see here this error. What is telling us? You can see the role is not allowed. You can see this is the message that was printed. So we can see why the role is not allowed. So in our register, so we can go back and look in our backend where we had that role, and that's why I did it test first of all so that we can see errors that you can get. So inside here, first of all, let me come here, and I think this is because of the validation. So inside our controller here we need now to look at our controller here. So let's come here in our user and registered here, this register here. So first thing first, you can look at the role. You can see here we have this role, the name. Actually, let me look for register. Okay, register. Okay, sign up here, and you can see we need to have also the role here so that we can just validate and everything. So okay, now we need to just save this. Let me look at the store procedure and see if we need to have that or what we need to have. So in our store procedures, in our DB here, store procedure for signing up, we can just check for it. So go into our user, and then we can look in our user here. Let's look at sign up. You can see the things that we require: the name, the email, the password, the role. So now what we can do is come here in our controller user. Then it means here we need to have the role also. So we need to have the role here because our store procedure need it. So that's all. So let's see if it will work again. Let's see if it is actually running, and you can see it has broken up because of similar things or this error that we got. So let me clear and let's see if we start again. So first of all, let me delete close that. So here let's see if it will help us. So, and actually let me go to validation also. In our validation, in our helpers here and validation here, I will need to add this. I'll add a role. So I'll just copy this and also add the role here. So I just need to add role just like that, and now we can just use it like that. So actually I can just remove this required, but now and then save it. Let's see if our backend is running Okay, now it is restarting, and then you can see it is running. So let us try again. So here, let me inspect first of all, and now let us see. Let us try and send it again. So let me click that, and let us see. Yeah, you can see now we have this message, registered successfully. That means that our user here has been added database successfully. So we can just check for this one here in our this Azure, our workspace here in Azure Data Studio. We can just click, we can run this select all from users and see if the user has been registered in the database. So you can see already we have one record, and this one here, we have the name, the email, the role, and everything. And one thing is that in our background services should send an email to this email here, but I think this is not a valid email, or if it is valid email, it will send to another person. So let me first of all close here, because now that is telling us that we have done it correctly. So let's see if in our background services it has sent the email, and you can see here it have sent the email here. So let us check. You see, we have this email that has been sent, telling that user that, hey, thank you for registering in our, or you have been registered in our system. So to show you, I just need to use my email that is existing so that we can see. So let me click on this, and then we just check in our inbox. So in our inbox here, let me come here, and then we can check if we have the email. The email will be sent by background services. So let us see. Okay. So what I will do now, actually, let me see if we have registered this user. So click here, and you can see we have two. Now, because this is a valid email and it is my email, we need to see the email being sent to us for registering, admin registering us to our admission, adding us in a database, and this is where the background services is running, and this is the ID. So let us wait, because remember our background services is running after every 1 minute. So after every 1 minute, it's checking if there is a new user that has been registered in the database, and then it will send the email. So let us see. So let us see here. Actually, it is the 1 minute. I don't think it is finished, or it has completed 1 minute, so that it checks on the database again and then send the email. So for now, what I will do, we just continue, and then we see if the email will be sent after 1 minute, that is. So let me click here, let me close this, and then in here now you can see we have that. And now what I need to do now, when we click on that, I just need to reset. So let me close this one because I don't need it right now. So let me open in our front end here, and where we were in our admin, or here, actually I can access it here. It is actually easy now. So actually here now we can now reset. We can reset the forms whenever we have now added the user into our database, and this is to prevent a user or admin to duplicate people in the database, that is. So now for this time, what we can do, we can register another person, and this time I can say Rensri, and we can say Rensri at gmail.com, and then the password, we can add the password. Remember, the password should be 8 characters, so I can add the same in this password here, and we can say reception just like that, and then we can send we can now register this user to our database. So when I click here, it should empty these forms here because we have done this form reset. So when you click here, you can see we reset these forms here. So actually only this one that is not being reset because we are not using the form group. So that's all that I wanted to do right there. And we can look at this here, background services. It has not sent the email. I don't know. I think it has hung. You can see this. It had hung, and now it has sent the email. So the background services had hung somewhere. So that is like, I think it's because my computer is running a lot of services and a lot of activities going behind. So that's why we never gotten the email. So yeah, you can see it has sent the email. So let's see now if we can get the email. So in our email, let me restart and see if we can get the email. Okay, that was sent by our system, and right now I can't see the email. Don't know why, but it shouldn't have it should have sent the email. So let's see if it is in spam, because it can be in spams also. So let me open here. So it is not in spam, so it's okay. We'll just look at this later. So now what I will do, let me come here, and now we need to come here and just now start working on this one here. So in our users here, we need now to get those users to just pull them from the database, and then we add them here so that the admin can delete them if he want, and then can search if he want or she want. So now let's go, and now you know what we need to do. First thing first, what we need to do is that we need to inject the service in this component here so that we can be able to request the data from the database. So to do that, let me first of all open the component, and the component here is called users. So let me close this first of all, and here we need this component here. So first thing first, what we need is to register the out service. So I'll just add private, and again we need to do out service here, and we can now inject this out service here. So you can see it has been imported. So now the other thing that we need to do is now to get the data, and now to get the data, we create another method here. Actually, let me do it here. We call it get users, and now we can add that and that method. And this method here, first thing first, because I told you that we can use async pipe. First thing that we do, we create an observable, so called users. So up here, we create in our constructor here, below our constructor, we create a users observable, and to show it is observable, it is conventional to use $sign, and then I will just make it nullable, and then we can do observable, and it is from RxJS, and then now in here we need to give it the return type of register user, that is interface. So that is array, that is, I think, okay, that's okay now. So what we'll do now, before we do anything, we just come here in get users, and now the other thing that we do, we need to access the method that we called get user, that we build in our services called get users. So we do this dot out service, and actually is just say get users. You can see it here. So now another thing that we need to do is that we can now give this dot users. You can see it here, and remember it is observable, so we won't subscribe here because it's not the right way to do things. Even in the add users here, we'll come and unsubscribe it after certain hook, that is on ng destroy. So now this is what we need to do here, and now we need to call this on this here, on this and on g init. So inside here, what we can do now, we'll just say this dot get users. This means that when this component is loading, it will just call this users, and it will assign them to this observable called users here. So now let's go in our HTML here, and now we need to know how we can get these users and loop them through here and show them inside here. So first thing first, what we can do, we just need to just add it, need to know how we can add it here. So let me first of all remove this here, because now we can get them from our database. So let me close that, and now what we can do now is to get from observables. So actually now, yeah, I will just create, let me first of all remove this and to here. Actually, I think that will be okay, or it will bring errors. I think it will bring us some errors, but I think it's okay. Okay, it's okay. So because it is looping, you can see here where the error is coming from. So what we'll do now, we just first of all get the observable. Let me add here a div. So let me create this div here, and this div, what we'll do inside this div, we just now need to get the observable. We need to access observables, and first of all we just check with this ngIf directive, and we just take users observable like that. You know how we called it in the component. So now this is the async pipe. Using that pipe, now we can say async pipe and then async, and then we can say as users. So now we have converted this observable to just an array of users. So after that, now inside here, we now need to check another thing, and this is, we can say div dot div, and then inside here, what we just take is the length of the user. So of users, that is to check if there is a users in our database. So just say ngIf, and then inside here we can say users. Now these users are this one here. It is array of users, so that we can check even the length. And now if that is okay, and actually here you can add else, but I won't add that right now. So I can now start looping. If we have these users now, we need now to start looping. So I'll just now come here, copy this here, copy everything here. Now inside here, when we want to loop here, so let me first of all format this. So the first thing that we did here, we checked for this async pipe, and then we assigned that async pipe, we subscribe to it, and then give it this users array here. We created this users as an array here, and then we checked for the length. So now the other thing that we need to do is, now we not be getting the data from from this. We not be getting that data from collection that is here. We not need this collection now. What we need to have is, need to have now, or to get the data from now from the users now, because we need to have users here just like that. And then yeah, we can give page 5, meaning that per page we need to display 5 users. So now let's first of all check before we start interpolating the strings here, see if we have done it correct or there's some errors. So let's let it load. So let me do saving and then let it load. You can see, yeah, it is getting, and right now we have 3 users. I don't know why we have 3 users, but let me first of all interpolate. So here, to interpolate, we need to now to use these 2 curly braces, and now we can say item dot user. We can say item dot name actually, because it will be one user and we can access the name. And also we can come here, add this one here, okay, here. And what we can do now, can say item dot email, and let's see, we can get it. And then here we can access now the data again from item dot role, just like that. So now let's copy, let's save, and then we'll see. So you can see we have these 3 here. So if you come in our database here, we have this, if we just check, we have these 3 users here. So we have those 3 users and we can get them from our database. There's nothing that I will add here. This our extra information here. So now the other thing that we need to do is to just be able to click here and delete. So I don't know why we have this actually here. So we have some problem here. So let me first of all just check where the problem is coming from. So now down here, let's check this. So we have this here, that is our model that we are opening. So let me see at this delete and then delete item. So you can come here and look for that delete. It is okay. I don't know why we have those error. So 100%, 100%, and then top right. Okay, it is looking okay. And maybe let me give this height to be auto, just like that. And width is 100. So, and then what else can we do here? Because I don't know why we have that. It's not working the way it was working. So let's see. So actually it's not working right now the way it should work. So let me come here, and what I can do now, because I have added it to be auto, I can give it 100 VH, just like that. Let me see if that will correct or something of the sort. So let it work, and here you can see it's okay. We'll work with it like this, and then we'll look at what is happening afterward now. So you can close here and we can open. So now, to get what we need to do in order to delete the user, we need to get the ID of this user here. So what I will do, I'll just add here an item. Okay, so an item here, and this time we'll add item, and item, just say .id here. So we'll have this one here. So what I'll do, first of all, first thing first, so because we are adding this, now we need to add something here. So let me add here close, because this one is for closing. So, and then in our close here, in our show, this function here will just be checking. And what we can do now, we can do ID, and this one is a number actually, or a string. Again, we can use a string. Okay, let me first of all see what we can do. So we can't do like this because it will give us some error. So this one will just say close. Let me say close, and then we create that function or method. So let me remove this here, and then we can create this method. So just like that, and then come here, and inside here we can create this method here. So we can copy this because we'll be working the same. Copy this and then paste it inside here. So what we can do now, we can console log. Okay, let me console log here, console.log, and then we can get the ID here. So let's see the ID. So you can see if we have some error. So let us see. I think we'll be having error. Expected one argument but got 0. So let's see. This is an argument here. So I think here we need to have this. So show delete, and then it has this item.id that we are adding. Actually I'm doing mistake. This is a mistake that I'm doing. Okay. Actually, that is the mistake. That is a mistake, and sorry for that. You need to get item.id. No, wrong. That is. So now the other here is where we need to add this, that the show or assign. We just call it assign ID because I will be showing you why we are calling it that way. So this one will be accepting item.id. So this one here, I just copy this, and then now inside here in our component, let's create it here, and then like that, and then this one will be giving us some ID, will be giving us ID, and we call it a number. So we can console log, and again we can now console log this ID, and then see if we can get that data or that ID that is. So let's see. So let it load, and okay. So now what we can do, actually let me see why we have this problem. So we can give this a string. First of all, let me see if that is where the error is coming from. So it is giving us, and it is telling us the argument of type number undefined is not assignable to parameter of type string, type undefined. So what we can do now then, it is, let me add, it is a number, it's okay. But now what we need to do, we can say, and is undefined also, and then let's see if that will make the changes, or that will help us to eliminate the data, the error that is. So let me see if where the error is coming from. So show delete here in our class, expected one argument. Okay, I can see where the error is. Now this is another error. So what we can do here, we can remove this because this one here, we don't require any argument, and let me remove this. So just like that, I think that's where the error was coming from. So just like that, and I think now it's working. Okay, so now I'll just inspect here. It has inspect, and here in our console we'll just see if we have our ID. You can see we have our ID here. We are getting the ID here, and if we check if this ID are corresponding with the one that we have in our database, you can see we have it because we added this ID, or we set this ID to be auto incrementing. So now we are okay and we can proceed. So now the other thing that we need to do, because remember when we want to delete the user, or when we are deleting the user, let me format to remove this space, these extra spaces. So let us see, and then let us format. I don't know why it is not formatting. So remember, we are not when you are clicking this one here, this here, we are only actually is not giving us. Okay, let me copy this, and what I will do, I just add it here. So just like that. So actually let me, okay, so just like that. So now when you're clicking, you can see we have that. And remember, this one is not deleting, it is just opening this model here. So you need to know, because this here, this delete here, this button here is the one that will be using our service to delete the user from the database. Now that's where we want, or we need now to get the ID here inside. So what we can do, we can create this here, we can create another property here, and we can call it ID and give it a number, or a number, and then all undefined, just like that. And then here what we can do also, let me add it like that. And then this one here, this function, and that's why I called it assign ID. So we can just say this dot ID, and then we can assign it to ID that we are getting here. So let me close and see if we have error. So let it load. So do we have error? No. So now we can continue now. So inside here, we can just check. So inside here, delete. Inside here, now we can call the service. So we can say this dot service, out service, that is, and then delete. Remember, we have this one here, and inside here we need to give it the ID. So we can give it the ID now, this dot ID, like that, and then we can say dot subscribe here, and then we can have value here, and then we can say here console.log, and we can give it here just console log and then value, that is. So I know we are getting this error, and this error is because here this ID is number or undefined. So what we can do, we can come here in our services here, and inside our out here, because this is where we are deleting the user, what we can do, we can add a number, and we can say a number or undefined, just like we did. So that's why you can see the TypeScript does a lot of type saving for us, and that's one of the greatest things that TypeScript is for. So now what we can do, let's come here in our users, here in our admin, and in our component here. Now we can just check if we have that, and when we are closing, we just need to reload so that we can get that user gone. So window dot on reload, or we can say location window, and then location, or let me see where we can reload this page again. So let's see. Okay, here, let us see here and see how we can reload. So what we can do in order to reload, actually we need to do it here, window, and then window, and let's get this window here, and then we can say location, and then dot reload here. So I don't know why it's giving me this error, but it shouldn't give me this error. Does not exist on type window. Okay, I think I'm accessing a different window, and let me see if we have here. Actually, this is not the window that I want, so that's why we are getting the error. So you can see the error is gone, and now let us see if we can delete a user. So right now, who user do we want to delete? We need to delete one James. So let us try and delete this first James here. So let us delete James. So let us load, and you can see James is gone. And if you check, actually it won't show us the console log because we have already reloaded the page. So now that's what I wanted us to do in this page or in this tutorial. So now if now we can stop here, I think that tutorial will be enough for today. So now we are almost getting to the end of this project. Remember, we'll be having another session after this project to show us what we will be discussing extras in this project. So without much ado, if you have learned something, kindly remember to subscribe, to like and comment on this YouTube channel. So after that, now we can see each other in the next tutorial. Have a great day and